Hello and welcome to episode 1. This is the first in, I hope, a long series of monthly videos that I'll be shooting to document my progress in trying to build a stocks and shares portfolio. And this will be done through the ISA allowance here in the UK. So as of April 2025, I am 40 years and 11 months old, and by trying to build this portfolio, I would like to set myself on the path to financial freedom. I don't have lots of money. However, through my knowledge and my skills and the work and the education that I have done over the last few years, I hope to build a portfolio learning from the best in the space, as well as looking at the macro events in the news around the world and geopolitics, and making informed decisions to hopefully grow a portfolio that will compound as I get older, and hopefully will set me up. So as you would have seen on the thumbnail, I am starting out in April 2025 with a £4,000 initial lump sum that I've placed into the ISA just before the ISA year end in early April. My plan is that every month, my hope, and I'm hoping to save more than this, but £500 per calendar month, I would like to be adding to my stocks and shares ISA. Whether that will happen, we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure there will be some months where things will go a lot better and I'll be able to save more. And some months may be a little bit more difficult with different expenses and holidays and things like that. However, my aim and the figures that I'm trying to work with are £500 a month added. And I'm predicting a 15% annual return. So around 10% is the usual S&P returns for a portfolio. However, I want to beat the S&P, so I want to beat the majority of other investors and outpace inflation so that I can actually grow my portfolio quicker, and I think it potentially is achievable. So what you can see on screen is a table that chronicles if I actually achieve my milestones of each month investing £500. You can see here that the estimated invested in pounds goes up sequentially by £500 each month. And then with the appreciation in the actual accounts, you can see here the estimated value of that account. So I'm hoping that by the age of just before my 42nd birthday, so the end of April in 2026, I would have hopefully invested £10,000, and I hope that my portfolio value will be £11,131.24. So how long will it actually take me to get to £1 million? How about that? Let's always shoot for the big number. But I've run the figures and I can show you here on this table by the age of 62 and 3 months, which feels like an incredibly long time away, I potentially might hit that £1 million mark. But who knows what even £1 million even means in 23 years' time. So using my knowledge and hopefully skill, I'm going to be very transparent on this channel, and I want to document my progress so that I can actually look back in later years to see what went well, what went wrong, how I could have actually improved. However, I'm hoping that things will obviously go well, but we will see. Investing is never a guaranteed success. By using a DCA method and looking to the long-term future, I hope to ride out any volatility in the markets by slowly accumulating into my chosen stocks or ETFs or pies and funds and things like that. So we'll see how things go. But this is the very start of the journey. I just want to show you this table here. So this is an estimate based upon public data in terms of the 2022-23 stocks and shares ISA balance distribution in the UK. If you haven't actually added to your stocks and shares ISA during the year, you're not included in the figures. But this gives a nice rough estimate in terms of the actual distribution. The reason why I'm showing this table is kind of a motivation really more than anything. So I am at the very bottom of this table who have a balance of under £5,000. I wanted to use this table as a motivation to try and get up into the higher echelons of that table. And I want to slowly start moving through the categories and try and be in that highest bracket, if possible, of ISA stocks and shares holders with a huge amount of wealth. Now, that's not to say that people don't have wealth in other asset classes, but it's just a little bit of fun that will hopefully keep me motivated as we go through this journey together. So I'm going to be using Trading 212 initially for all of my ISA purchases, and I'll be using that to store my cash, even though if I haven't actually invested in certain stocks, because I currently get just over 4% in terms of interest, and I won't be dumping all of my money into stocks. I will be slowly building that portfolio and having a cash reserve so that if there are any unexpected dips in the market, I can take advantage of those and actually bring my average costs down a little bit further. So by the end of April, given the stats that I've already shared in terms of 15% across a calendar year, my £4,000 should be worth, by the end of April, £4,050. I've invested into 3 companies this month, all on the 7th of April: D-Wave, IONQ and Rigetti Computing. All 3 are quantum stocks, and I feel that they have a lot of potential, and I'll probably talk about that in future videos. On the 7th of April, I entered those positions, but why the 7th of April? Well, quite interesting. You could even go back and have a look, but this is when President Donald Trump announced to the world that he'll be introducing tariffs, country tariffs on any goods imported into the US, which then sent the S&P stock market into a frenzy. Now, I've learned a lot over the years, and when there's blood on the streets and when there is fear, uncertainty and doubt, the best thing to do is actually to buy. So on the 7th of April, when everything dropped, I invested £250 into all 3 of those companies. So this will be a first DCA, so I'll be DCAing each month into these stocks as well as potentially others as well. So after entering those positions on the 7th of April, by the end of April, actually, I've done quite well because we've had a nice little bounce back in the markets from those initial positions. And you can always say, oh, I wish I'd invested more. However, this is a long-term play for me, so I'll be investing into these companies and others each month. So it was nice to get off to a solid start. So my target for the month was £4,050, and I slightly exceeded it at £4,092. So in future videos, I will be sharing graphs of my journey in terms of estimated value and things like that. And I'll probably talk about other things in terms of compound interest and why getting to £100,000 as quickly as possible has massive implications in terms of an investing journey. So a nice little start to my journey at month end of April 2025. Thanks very much for watching. Digger Dagger.